So my voice is clear, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So by now, like everyone knows like what is POC, right? POC is means proof of concept. So whenever any client comes to an IT company with his problem statement, whatever the application or whatever the problem he is facing, and you want to automate something into else, right? Basically, he wants some whatever the project idea he has. So when he comes, normally this happens, POC kind of thing happens with everywhere. Either it is IoT, it's a normal web application, some networking application, it can be anything, even if a mobile app. So when client comes, so he explain his business idea, what's the business is, what he is looking for. After that, we have to create a small representation of it. Sometimes a basic small module also we create. Sometimes we just mention whatever the requirement he has specified, we try to convert it into a Figma or something, so that we let client know that we understood the business or whatever your expectation is from us, right? So for that we create a POC. Okay. Now considering same scenario, like the POC I have explained, like what is POC. So let's consider we have a client who is running some that IIT institute, no, that IIT preparation institute. After 12th, whatever student goes to that institute to prepare for that entrance exam, right? So they have multiple batches going on. Some are repeater batches, like one student will register if he didn't
Hello,
get
sir.
that particular.
Sorry for disturbing you, but your voice is not audible. Can you increase your voice? Sorry, sir. Please.
Anyone else facing the same issue?
Our
I'm
voice is
audible
not
properly?
No,
audible.
no,
Can
we can
anyone
able to
confirm?
hear you.
Yes,
Your
yes,
voice,
we have.
yes, 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 voice is low.
No,
We
from
can hear clearly.
Yes.
no. Check your thing, Saurabh. Everyone is able to hear. Okay. Fine. So consider you have a client who is running some classes, right? So what they are doing, they are maintaining all the data, like what are the batches going on, what are the registration for a particular batch we have enrollment, what fees was decided, how much fees was received. So everything they are currently maintaining in the Excel. Now because when we maintain the data in Excel, it is somehow it gets after some time it gets very difficult to get the holistic picture, right? Let's say you have one or two batches going on, it's okay, but let's say you have parallelly so many batches going on, so it's somehow get difficult to manage everything even in Excel. So he is looking for an application where he can see whatever the operation he has fees. Basically his idea is focused on the fees man. Again, there are multiple models, but main idea is focused on the fees tracking. How many batches are going on, how many students have enrolled to those batches, how much money is supposed to be collected, how much money we have actually collected, pending, right? Everything, right? So this is the business idea. Now for this we have to create a POC so that we understood the concept and we can complete the whole project with our team. That is nothing but POC. So he has shared one image. So consider like this is kind of a data they are currently managing. So for according to the batch wise, they are creating the Excel, what number of student we have, total fees, how many EMIs they have received, total received, and full paid or not, like that. So this is just an image they have sent for the sample data. Their Excel might be something else, but this is what kind of they are looking in a POC. Now for that, what I have done, let me just disable the chat, otherwise we will get disturbed. Okay, once I'm done with, then again I will in between I will be allowing you to unmute. So if any question, we can go ahead. So just for the POC, we cannot complete the whole project, right? So this is what again, so some screenshot they have sent, but this is something the core idea of that fees management tracker, right? So we should be able to see how many students are there in particular batch, what fees was there, how much we have received, right? Total amount received and pending something. So this POC we are going to cover. So for that, I have created two table. So first table is just to store the batch detail, how many batches there are. Let it open. So this is my first table, which is having batch ID, batch name, and some created date. Then second table is student fees. So this is where we are going to actually do the enrollment of all the student according to the batches. So the batch table foreign key will be over here. See, these are the enrollment detail and the uh, batch ID. So currently, if you see EMI1, EMI2, here only I have stored. But in actual application for storing the payment detail, we will have another table. Here only we are storing the student name and contact detail. But in actual application, we will have a separate student detail. But it's a POC, we cannot waste so much time also, right? Just client should get the confidence with us that yes, they are capable of completing the whole project. So for now, just to go ahead with the POC, these are the two tables I have created. Then respective APIs also I have created. Where it is? Face tracking application. So this is the controller. In the single controller, I have the API, and APIs I have just I was facing issue while deployment. So now it is resolved. Yesterday I was trying something with firewall and that only disturbed it. So here you can see on free project API in face tracking, you will be able to get all the APIs. So enrollment related API and the batch related API. So first what they when we have to give the demo, first we will show them like from here we will create the batches, and main part will be this. Now for this I have created the UI also. Where is UI? Let me. So this is just a UI which again I have created by using Bolte only, not created by myself. According to the image they have sent, so this is a single page what we are going to focus. So here we will show all the data, kind of a dashboard, and here we will show all the record of the student, total fees, EMI status. From here we will be able to add new enrollment. Okay, like this we are going to do. So this is the UI which we are going to follow. Now APIs are already ready, basic UI is also there. Now just Angular part we are going to cover. So existing project I'm using, so this Angular 20 project is already on the Git. But for why nothing is opening? Let me open this one more time. Angular 20 tutorial. Okay, so this repo is already there on the GitHub repo. I will again share it. Okay, so in this only we are just the batch creation I'm not going to cover, but this page only I'm going to cover. Okay, now I will create a new component. So project creation and everything I'm not covering, considering like everyone knows the basic things. So I'm just creating new component. So I will say ng generate component fees tracking. So within this same component also, we will try to complete everything. So after creation of the component, I have to create the route. Fees tracking. It will take some time. Right. What's the component name we have given? Fees tracking. Okay, now it is coming. Fine. So after creating the component, I have created the route. Now .ts and .html and .css, all three files we are going to need. Now let's run the project. NGS, and we will try to access the page directly by the route. Localhost 4200 slash my route name. Enter. Set to compile. Yes, compiled. Fine. So component is properly opening. Now UI is ready. So I will just copy paste the static HTML page for now. So first I need the CSS. So I will copy this. Oh my God. Uh, so I need to copy everything now. Hmm. So CSS part, it will go to into my particular CSS over here. But over here we have body. We don't have the body, right? Let's try first. How does it look? Otherwise, we will create one more parent div. Then I need the HTML. So this one, and this is for the model. Let's copy. It will go to my HTML. Let's save, and let's check if UI is coming proper or not. Yeah, UI is coming proper, but because here, if you see, we had that background color. So it is coming it is looking very proper. But here we don't have that background color missing because that body class was not there, right? So what we can do, this body class, we can convert it into a parent class. And here, whole HTML, we will wrap it inside a parent container. Copy, we will move it over here. So this will act as a parent container because we don't have body over here. Okay, but icons are not coming. I think here, what's the icon they were using it? Okay, so let's copy this bootstrap icon only they were using. So for now, I will just put it into my index.html. I don't want to install it right now. So in index.html, for now, I will copy paste. Normally we don't do this, right? We install everything. Same UI design is there, but somewhat icon is there. Color is missing. Why? Why color is missing? From where we are getting this back color? Okay, so it is saying undefined. So this we will move it to style. Let's see if it works. Okay, so now whatever the UI we have got by using the Bolt AI, same UI we have achieved. Now, so what we are going to do, the list we have, we should be able to add new enrollment and we should be able to update the payment also, right? And the APIs, if I just explain, this is the API which will get you all the enrollment. This API just to get one ID data. Wait, one API should be there for getting the dashboard kind of data was there. I think I didn't create it. Anyway, so when I do the upload now, you will get one more API from where you will get all this data. This about data, you will get it. Okay. I think I forgot to create that. But for now, what we will do, we will be able to add the new enrollment and all the data should be visible over here. Right. But while doing the enrollment, if I show you the post API, see the post API, what data it needs. So in this post API, enrollment ID is our primary key and batch ID is our foreign key because we have separate API to create the batch. So this is the get API. If I click, so currently two batches are there. This is for one I have created. This is, I think by default we got. Let me create one more. So use Swagger to create batch, or if you are going to work on it, you can create a batch component and there also you can do the CRUD operation. Okay. So I will create one more batch by using the post API. Let's say summer repeater math test endpoint. Why it's not working? Test endpoint 400 we are getting. Why 400? Batch name already exists. Batch name I'm passing something else now. Test endpoint. Okay, so it got created. So in the batch API, batch name is unique. So if you try to pass the same batch name again while creating new record, it will give you the error like batch name already exists. Fine. So here you can see we have got three batches created. Let's update this. So for updating the batch, just like post API, after that we have a put API. So here we need to pass the batch ID and then our object. Wait, why it is behaving? Put API. Batch ID is 2 and we need to pass the put API. So along with the normally when API developer develops the put API, it will ask you to send the ID, which record you are updating and the object itself. Here also we have the batch ID, but they will ask you to pass the one more time in the URL parameter also, right? So batch, let's say summer new batch bio. Okay. Test endpoint. So this is the update API. Why I'm not getting the API? Something is happening wrong. OTP is not executing. Anyway, let's not waste time. Okay. So currently I have 3 batches which I have created from the Swagger. Now, if you see the add enrollment API, here we have the batch ID. So when you create the new enrollment, you have to actually show whatever the batches are there. You cannot direct because you how could you know the batch ID, right? So we have to get in the add enrollment model pop-up, we need to show the batch dropdown from where user will select the batch name. But in response, in backend payload, we will pass the batch ID. Okay. Now, according to our UI, once I click on the new enrollment, I need to open the model pop-up. So if you see in our component, let's close this now. So in component, we have the model pop-up code ready over here. Now I will just unmute. How do we open the model pop-up in Angular? There are multiple ways to open the model pop-up, right? What are those? How you can open the model pop-up in Angular? On click of this button, I need to open this model. How do you open it? Anyone?
Using mat dialog container.
No, we don't have material, na? It's just a normal, right? I have a button. On this button click, I need to open this particular model pop-up. Bootstrap model pop-up. How do you open it?
By using a view child, we can trigger the model
Right?
pop-up.
That's the best way. Means when you open the model pop-up, by default, what you do, you add a that display none and display block CSS, correct? So you need to add dynamic CSS to this div. Okay. So we need be on mute if you're not talking. Let me disable it. So on click of this button, we need to select this particular element and we need to add a dynamic style that is display block. And when we have to add display none. Now in JavaScript, normal JavaScript, how do we do that? Document.get element and then style, right? So same thing if we have to do in Angular, we should not use DOM API directly. So they have provided a wrapper that is view child. Fine. So on click of this button, we will, let's create a function, open model. Fine. Let's create this function. Now in this function, what we have to do? First, we have to create the view child. So let's say @view child. View child is a decorator. That is property decorator. And selector we have to provide. Now, this is the element what we are going to select. So we have to provide a hash property template reference variable. New model. Fine. This name I will provide over here. Sorry. Then our view child name. So model data type will be element reference. What we are going to store inside this, so reference of the element. So element ref. Now it will provide you the error that we have to initialize it, but it's a view child, so we cannot initialize. So we will mark it as optional. Not fine. Now in this button click, whenever you are dealing with the view child, always you should add a null check. So if otherwise, if view child is not there, your code might break. So if this is not undefined, so this dot is there, then this dot model dot native element dot. Now whatever you used to do with document dot get element by ID. So style dot display. This is the CSS what you need to add is equal to block. Fine. Let's save it and check it if model pop-up is opening properly. So if I click on the button, why it is going this side? Oh, tab index -1. Nothing specific, na? Why it is going? I think we removed this ID and I think with that ID, some CSS was there. Let's check if some CSS is there with this ID. No. Why it is going over there? Let's try to see the CSS. This is our, because of display block or what? Model, wait, model CSS also. Yeah, model CSS is there. Where is top? Top 0. Left 0. Left should be in the center, right? Why it is going over there? Plain bootstrap model only. Anyone getting in something wrong? Because of tab index, it should not. Let's try. Model, then model dialog. That fade is required. Fade will by default just hide. It won't show that. This is a normal bootstrap CSS. Anyone getting anything? Something wrong with the classes?
Sir, can
Model
you try with
dialog.
model dialog centered class? Yes, with this.
Do we have it? Something class like this?
Yes, yes. And model dialog should also be there.
Okay, model dialog separate.
Yes.
Let's see here. No. Dialog centered, yes, class is there. But why it is going to the left side?
Okay.
Mm,
Can you reload and try once again?
Wait. Okay. So from somewhere, this margin right and is getting overridden. Let's copy paste. Let's not waste time. That center now, it is getting overridden from somewhere.
Okay, okay, got it.
Okay, now it is done. So this is an intro question, like whenever we have to access any particular element in Angular, so always your answer should be like view child. We should not use document.get element by id directly into the Angular. We can do that also, but we should not, because we have view child for the same purpose. Okay, now on the button click we are able to open the model pop-up. Now in the model pop-up we have the close button also, right? This, so on it we need to close it also. So click on close. Fine. We will create this function. Now here we just need to add a dynamics vice versa style. So again, I will copy. Again, instead of creating two function, we can have a one function with the parameter, and like that also we can do. But everyone should understand. So we will go with two different function. Fine. If I click on close, it is getting closed also. Now first thing is done. Now we have this mockup API. So for that API, we need to pass this object. Again, we have a form. So either you can go with template or the reactive. Just to save the time, I will go with the template. So this is your object, what you need to pass it along with your API. So what you do, you create an object, right? Let's close everything. Now over here, we can create an object. But now we know if for API, these are the things we need to send. So instead of creating instead of going with any, what we should do, we have two ways to strongly type. Either we go with the class or the interface. So what we should choose? We should choose interface or class to strongly type,
Class.
right? Because we might need to initialize it. So instead, in interface also we can initialize, but it takes time because in component you have to do all the initialization. But if you have a class, in the your class file only you will do the initialization, right? So I have the JSON object. So I need to convert the TypeScript file. So convert JSON to TS. So we can use any site which will help us to get us our TypeScript object, our JSON. Let's copy. So now I know like in the same component, I'm going to use everything. So here only after the class, I will create it. Export class, new enrollment. Fine. So this is our class we have created. According to the value initialized was there, it has provided the data type. So it's a class, so we can provide our initialization into the constructor. That is only the error we are getting. So it is asking us to initialize all the properties. Fine. Now we can have constructor. And in constructor, we will initialize all the property with whatever the default values we have. So batch ID is our foreign key. So we will we can initialize with 0 or empty. Then enrollment ID is our primary key. So primary key always we set it as a 0 because whenever we are creating a new record, either your API is developed with Java, .NET, PHP. API developer will normally follow this way. If you are creating a new record, primary key, they will expect a 0. In case of update, you will pass the primary key, something, whatever the record you are updating. Okay. Let me just copy paste this now. Remaining things I will initialize with empty. Student name. Total fees it with number. So number we cannot initialize with 0. So with empty. So let it be like that. 2, 3. So number we are initializing with 0. Sometimes we don't want to show the 0 into the UI because whatever you initialize, that will by default be available in your UI when your form open. So if you don't want it to be 0, so we don't keep it number. We keep it string also. That is also fine. Your API won't break. Okay. What is the total received? Status and is soft delete. Fine. So while creating API, I have this we have to explain in the demo, like because whenever we work on an application, we have a delete button. Many times, actual end user who is going to use this application, so what they do, key they delete the record even though they don't want it, or some after deleting they think like they wanted that record. So in normally actual live project, we don't directly delete, we do a soft delete, right? Means on click of delete, we just change a flag, we don't actually delete it, right? So that is what the soft delete. So in API we have two types of API. So one is the soft delete, where it is. Yeah, this is the soft delete and this is the actual delete. This will just change a flag and this will actually delete the record. Once you use this API to delete, you won't be able to recover it. Okay. This is the soft delete. Record will be there, but it won't be visible in your table. Fine. So we created our class and we initialize all the field also. Now over here, we need to create our object. So new enroll obj colon. Now data type, instead of going with any, I will be providing this data type over here. Now it's a class, so we can initialize, right, by using new operator. So when you do like this, your constructor is getting executed. So that's why your properties, all the properties from over here is actually initialized. Now we are going to use template form. So we have to import forms module. It's a standalone. So here only we need to do it. Again, doesn't matter if it is Angular 20 or the old version. Instead of doing this over here, you will do it in the older project in app module. Remaining coding is not going to change according to your version. Fine. So now wherever we have it, we need to add the ng model. So just a shortcut I will do, square bracket, round bracket, ng model. So here I will add your new enroll object dot. So now what I will do, almost every field has this class. So instead of writing again and again, or instead of copying it again and again, what I can do, I will simply search this and I will replace with this. So these are very small things, but it will increase your development speed, especially when you are in the learning phase. Obviously, you cannot waste so much of time in designing and everything, right? So you should learn this small copy paste thing also. It will increase your development speed. 9 field only it is saying, but we have drop down also. So in case of drop down also, we need to do it. So here and here also. But while doing copy paste, you need to be extra careful also. Fine. Now everywhere we need to bind it. the respective field. So now when you actually provide the proper data types, you have strongly type your variable with this particular class. So you get the property IntelliSense also, right? So student name. So if you gone with any, just to show the example, let's copy, paste. If I go with any, okay. So now you won't be able to get the IntelliSense, right? So that's the benefit. One of the benefit, what do we have to strongly type everything? So always create class or interface. Don't go with any unless it is required and you have a specific scenario, right? So email address we don't have, I think. Email ID we don't have. Fine. Now here we need the batch ID. So batch ID cannot be static. So our data should come from your API. So we will do that. But for now, I will bind the batch ID. Batch ID will go over here. Then course is not required. We don't have any field in the course because I asked this to the Bolt AI. So according to uh, that image, it has created the field also. So total fees, then EMI 1, EMI 2, EMI 3. And what else we had? Yeah, that's it. To additional notes, we don't have it. Let's save and check if our page is properly loading. Somewhere we are getting error. Okay, that error is gone. If I click on over here, always check the console. If some error is there, we will get the error. But we should get one error. We have a form tag over here and we are using ng model inside a form tag, right? So we should get that name property error. But why we are not getting? Name property we didn't add, right? So we should be getting that error. We are not getting the error, means something is wrong. Yeah, now we got it. But no, what is this face tracking to needs to be compiled JIT? Why we are getting this error? New enrollment. JIT compilation field for face tracking. This is something new. Why we are getting that error? Can you say that? Let me recompile one more time. Okay, well, unexpected end dot input. Okay. Here is there. That's why. So on the top, we have a search box. Now there also it. So that's why I said, keep whenever you do the copy paste, you have to be extra careful. At the top also, we had the one text box. So it changed over there also. Right. Now we are getting the correct error. So because we are using ng model inside a form tag, so name attribute becomes mandatory. Okay. So what we need to do whenever we have our form inside the form tag, right? So wherever you are using ng model, every time you have to add the name attribute also. But again, everyone knows that here we need to add the name attribute. And same property name, whatever you give over here,
because
same
we are
property
using
name. Yes. So same property name you have to provide over here. But for now, I won't do that. I will replace just the form tag. If I save, if I don't have the form tag, then you won't get that error. If I reload, see, now I'm not getting that error because I don't have the form tag present. Now, so we created object, that object we have binded to our form. Fine. Now in the form, we have a batch, right? So for batch, the batch is going to come from the API. So this should not be static. Whatever the record we have in our API, this API, whatever the batch we have created, that should come over there, right? So this API call we need to integrate. Now I'm not going to create the service. Ideally we should, but the focus should be currently just to complete the application. So now in the component only I'm doing the API call integration. So HTTP is equal to inject HTTP client. Now on the page load, we need to trigger the API call. So implement on init lifecycle event we will use ng on init, and we should have a separate function get all batches. Fine. So this dot HTTP dot get. Now again, we should create an interface for that batch record also, right? Just to save the time, I'm not doing that. Whatever the response we are getting, we can create class or interface of it. Right. This is the old syntax. New syntax is by using next. Result colon any. Okay, here I'm going with any, but if we have time, we should create class and interface and everything. This function, we will call it on the page load. Instead of doing this, ideally, we should create the async, right? We should put this into observable and we should use async pipe, but just everyone should understand. That's why I'm going with the normal way. Now the data we are going to get that we need to store into variable. Now we can go for a normal property also, or we can use a signal also. Those who know signal, you can go for a signal also. So batch list colon any of array. Fine. So whatever the data you get, that you will store over here. Batch list is equal to result. Fine. Now on the page load, this API call will trigger, and the data you get from this API, you are storing over here. Now this you need to iterate over here. Since this is Angular 20, so we have standalone. So if you have to use ngFor, you need to import it, then only you can use it. But instead of ngFor, we can use our normal control plus statement, that is our for loop also. And this will go over here. We will remove this static one. See, every project, whenever so many guys get confused, like project means it should be a bigger one. It should be an e-commerce one. Whenever so many people ask me like what project I should do for my portfolio, it should not be always e-commerce. It should not be always so many with complex thing. You can select any project, but that project should have all the various scenarios: bulk upload, file upload, single with multiple, dynamic UI, dynamic enable, disable, dynamic validation. That will showcase your skill, because no matter what project is there, we do the API call integration only, right? So don't follow like, or don't run behind the very project idea. Choose anything, but all the scenarios should be there or the role based. It should have multiple roles. Based on multiple roles, some role we have to hide, so some things, right? Like that. Now here value you will bind item dot, what the response we have, batch ID you will bind it over here, and here you need to show the batch name. So item dot, whatever the property you have, always copy paste. Don't assume. If you make the spelling mistake, it won't show the error and it won't show anything also. Fine. Let's see now. On the page load, we should have one API call. So you can see if I reload, on the page load, we have an API call, whatever the data we got, 3 responses we have. See, now if you open the drop down, see, so this data is not static. It is coming from your API. Now, this was our requirement before the post API. So now we can integrate our on click of this submit enrollment. We can do our API call integration for create new enrollment. So this is the API. Method name is this. Fine. Now I will need second API call for create new API. Create new enrollment. Create new enrollment. Fine. This dot HTTP, that's a post API. So post API needs URL and the object. So this will be URL, and then object will be this dot new enrollment object. Then dot subscribe, round bracket, next. Result colon any. This is your success. Just like that, we have an error block. So those who are working on the older version, so this is the new syntax of the subscribe what we write. Previous, how we used to write, that got deprecated. If you write the error block now, you will get that notif strike through on the subscribe that this way is deprecated. This is the new way. Okay. Now, so if API call is success, now we need the URL. So up till over here, URL will be same. Just ending method will change. Add new enrollment. Fine. Now, so if next block will execute, means your API call is success 201, whatever the error success error status code I'm passing from the API. So I will simply show alert box, enrollment success. Okay. And if we have the error, that error you will get over here in error.error. So alert error dot error. From the API, you will get if API fails if API fails, what's the reason why it is failed? In the error, you will get that message. Let's add a debugger over here. Again, every time I say this, key whenever you are working, if you are already new, if you are working, even though you are already experienced also, if you are working on some new task, you are writing the code for the first time. So always add a debugger, right? But while pushing the code, you have to remove it also. If you are not compatible with this, you can add it on the console also. Anyway, but always try to analyze, do the proper execution flow. What is I'm getting, how my code is executing, right? Now, so this function I need to call on my button click. So instead of submit, I will go for button. We can keep it submit also. Okay. Our function round bracket. Let's test it now. So if I show you existing, how many enrollment we have, some data I have added for testing. 1, 2 only. So current in my table, I have 2 record. Let me show you the table data also. If I open this table, see currently I have 2 records in my table. Fine. Now we are going to create new enrollment by using our Angular application. New enrollment, let's say test, contact number 0099009988. Again, like everyone might be using my API, APIs are open, everyone can see the data. So don't put your original mobile number or email ID, fine. So this student is going to be registered for winter math special batch. Let's say total 1000 fees is 26,000. This is the total fees. While registration, while enrollment, he has submitted 5,000. Okay. Now on click of submit. Do we have debugger number? Yes. Now on click of submit, our function will call. So now here you can check whatever the data I have provided over there. See batch ID, contact number, EMI1 we have provided, remaining we have not provided. So here, but soft delete I have make it true. By default, it should be false. That is my mistake. And status we are not using till now. So empty. Fine. Let's try continue. So here you can see next block got executed. Okay. And here if you see while passing the data, we pass enrollment ID as 0. But once we got the data from API, so see enrollment ID we got 3 because enrollment ID is my primary key and it is auto increment in the database. So you don't have to pass it. Once the record is created, whatever the ID it has got, you will get it in the response. So we have successfully created the enrollment. Let's try to refresh the table also. Refresh. See test 1 1. Okay. Whatever the data you sent that got successfully stored into my database. Now data is submitted successfully, right? Now the same data I have to display over inside this table, right? So for that we have that API. Now while sending the object, we have passed the batch ID, but in the table we need the batch name. So in the post in my get API, I have the join with my batch table. Okay, because I need the data from student table also and from the batch table also because I need the batch ID. So here we have the join in my API. Fine. Now our API name is get all enrollment. Fine. So this we will create it over here. One more function, get all enrollments. This dot HTTP dot get. See, those who are actually giving interviews, you might know that once you are done with first interview, they might ask you to complete some machine test, right? Sometimes with small scale and medium scale, companies will actually ask you to share the screen and do it in front of them. So at least with the CRUD operation, you should be very much confident, right? Because if you are sharing the screen, someone is looking, you cannot check the code, old code, and do something copy paste, right? So with at least basic CRUD operation, writing this API call, you should be very much confident. That only showcase your skill set also to the interviewer. Like, yeah, he is confident while writing the code because there are so many ways how we can cheat in the interview, right? From giving the interview question and completing the machine test and everything. You all knows the same, right? curly bracket. So have that confidence whenever you are writing the code, don't try to copy paste, write everything. Okay. Now, whatever the data we are going to get, again, we need to store it into one variable. So here we created our normal variable. Now I will create the signal. So let's say enrollment list is equal to signal any of array of data I'm going to store. We will initialize with empty array. Fine. This is our signal. Now, how do we update a signal? So in case of signal, we have a set and the update method. Now we don't have to consider the existing record. So we will directly use the set method. So this dot enrollment list dot set method, and whatever the data you get, that you will store over here. And this also you need to call once the enrollment is success. After that also you will call. So in case of save success, you will call this. Again, I will explain why we should not do this. For now, we will go with this. And on the page load also. So now on the page load, we are making two API call. But on the page load, we are making this API call. This is unnecessary, but we will again, I will explain what we can do. Now on the page load, we are making the API call to get all the enrollment once we get the data that we are storing over into the signal. Now in our HTML, we have to make it iterate also. So this is my static data. Oh my God, so much data is there. Let's remove the static data and we will make it dynamic now. But we need example also, that's colors and color combination is there now. So for now, I will just comment it, because for full page, if you have the particular student has paid, so we need to add this class. For partial, we need to add something else. So that dynamic thing we will be needing. So at the rate for loop. Now it's an signal. So we will access as a method, and our TR will go inside this for loop. Those who have not still checked what is control flow statement, even though you are working on the older version, but make sure you know this, because once you are looking for a job change, obviously everyone is going to ask signal, control flow statement, whatever the new things are there. Signal is possibly, like I have said already, like in 21 version, we are supposed to get signal based form. So we will have template, reactive, and the signal based form also. Now also we can create signal based form with custom code, but they might provide a proper API also for the signal base. Fine. Let's save. Now data will come, 3 record are there. Now we just need to make it interpolation. So here we need the serial number. So dollar index, we will use it over here. We should not show our primary key. So serial number, then here we need to show our student name. So item dot. So this will be common. So I will just replace it for now. And here we should get status. Status, student name. Then what is that total fees? EMI 1, EMI 2. And 3. And this is total received.
Sorry, here in this case, what signal is working here? For what signal we use signal here?
You know signal. What is signal?
And yeah, it is a reaction after occurring of any event.
Yeah, something like just how we create the variable. Just like that, alternative way is signal, but we can react to the change. Okay. Now,
Okay.
so here you can see whatever the data we are getting from the API, that is visible over here. Fine. So our very basic thing is completed. But if you see the UI, so here you can see we have this status, but I think from API side, I'm not getting the status. Status, okay, string is only coming because I forgot to do the change in the API. So this status should come from the API, but for now, as it is not getting status, like status means if totally was that, remaining is this. If remaining amount is 0 means full paid. If it is less, if it is not paid yet, so not, we have 3 type of status. So full paid, partial paid, and not paid. Okay, so 3 different classes are there, which we can add on the TR. So how you will decide? Because from API for now, you are not getting anything, but you have total fees and you know the total received, right? So we can create a function which will help us to get the what class we need to add. If it student has not paid anything, if he has paid anything, and if he has paid completed. Okay, get fees status. And this function I'm directly going to call in the HTML because I need the class name. And from this function, I'm going to return the class name. So here I will call the class name. So instead of property binding, we will use, and here I will call the function. And while calling the function, I will pass the object. Now object will go, that object we will catch it over here. Now in my object, I have total fees and received fees, right? So here constant, we need to check if data dot total fees is equal to data dot total received. So means whatever fees was there, we received everything, right? So we will return class, which will be row full paid. This is the class we will return. If what was the total fees and if received also same, right? Second else if data dot total fees is less than, or if data dot total fees, second state will be, we just need to check if total received is 0. By default, what we are getting? Total received in. So by default, you can see by default we are getting 0 because that's an integer field. Okay. So if it is 0 means user has not provided, that particular student has not paid anything. So in that case, we have to pass. What was that other thing? Row not paid. This is the second class we will be passing. And finally, else, if the he has paid something, so we will return partial class. This class we have to pass it over here. Okay, let's check. Wait, but why some classes is not getting applied? Row total paid is there. Background color is something else. Or TR. Or TR background color doesn't work, right? Or does it work? It doesn't. Anyone knows, like on TR, if we add some background color, it normally doesn't work. Someone knows how we can add it? But how it was working? No, here also it was not working. So on the TR, we cannot actually add the background color, right? See, we have background color
No,
over here. It is present also, right? But it doesn't work. So what we do on every TD, we add it, or we should add a color and then respective color, what do we say? TD should also have some trailing colors, some class, then it will add it. But on every tier, we cannot directly add some style. Copilot was not aware of that then. So let's try like that. In CSS, we will create a trail of the CSS like that. So if we need to create a class, like if TR has this class, then TD should have it. How do we do that? You're getting it right? What I need, if TR has this particular class, then TD should follow this. How do we create that CSS? Anyone know? I'm saying like TR, then TD, something like this we do now.
Could you please repeat question?
See what is happening. This class is present on the TR, but if TR has some background color, it won't affect. But if the same class is there on my TD, it will work. So I need to create that class like that. See, now it works. So on TR, we cannot add a background color. So I need to create a class like that. If TR has that color, then TD should have this CSS. Anyone know? TR.
So we can add colors.
Hmm?
Table of primary and secondary.
tr dot
Like
class
this, na?
you can
TR dot
yes,
class, then TD.
and
Yes.
then TD will take the.
Got it. TR dot this and then TD. I also work very less with CSS, but at least we know we might have seen somewhere, right? So at least we can do something, or at least we can search something. Let's try now. No, it's not working.
That CSS should be at 8 at least, because some override CSS will be there. If
Well, if
which
TR
color you want to apply, that CSS should be on last line. Or
last line means at the end.
move it down, move it down to the so then it won't override.
See. Okay, now it is working. See, we got the color. So on the TD, yeah, this color is coming. See, TR not paid for the TD. For not paid, we will go with this red color. This value we will go not paid with white. Right? No, what is this coming? To not paid only, no? Okay, it's got repeated. Status not paid. Okay, sorry, here I add it. Fine. So this, see, this two record doesn't have, but why it is coming? 5,000 was there, no? This is correct because, okay. So total received we are checking, even though in the this record I have added from the database. So, but what code we have written, we were checking this and that. Okay. So here you can see total received is 0. So you can see this. And for other, this will have some another partial class C. Okay. So for partial, we will add some different color. Let's say this. Got it? So again, when we actually work actual live application, like we have to show the color status also over here. Like red means this, like that, because we need to instruct user also what this color means, right? Okay. Now on click of edit, we need to update it also. So let's remove the static now. We don't need right now it. Now on click of edit, we just need to open the model pop-up again, right? But now we need to initialize our object with the actual data. So click on edit. And while editing, we will pass the current object, right? Wait, sorry, this is the delete one, right? So let's move it over here. Let's create this function. So here you can see we have created function, and this function we are directly calling out on the HTML. Instead of doing this now, we should create a custom directive, right? So many times you get this question, everyone will get this question, like how you created custom directive. So 50% will say highlight directive. That's not the real example of directive. So problem with this, like for every chain detection, this function will get called. It will cause unnecessary performance issue. So we should create a custom directive and move this logic over there. Okay. So that's a real example of your custom directive. Now, so data colon any. Now, whatever the data we get, that we need to assign to our object. So our form will have also the data. And we need to open the model pop-up. So once we assign the data, this function, we will call it over here. Let's say when check. So let's say if okay, second was that. Anyway, so see, Whatever the record you click, that is opening over here. Test 001. Okay. Now, if we are in the update mode, instead of submit, it should be update button. Now, how do you know like it is update, save mode or update mode? So by checking the primary key ID. If primary key is 0, by means we know that it's a new record. So at the rate if new enrollment object dot enrollment ID, if it is 0, we have to show the save button. So this button will be there. In at the rate else, here you can use ngif also. Here and here will be update. And just like this API call function, update, because we have two different APIs for save and update. So just like this. Now I will just copy paste the code because just URL is going to change. Let's get the URL for update enrollment. But in the URL, you can see we need to pass the ID also. Object also we need to pass, but in the query parameter, we need to pass the ID also. Question mark ID is equal to plus this dot new enrollment dot enrollment ID. Enrollment update success. Fine. In this function, we have already called it over here. Now, if I click on edit, sorry, this record, same record is getting populated. So let's add 2000. Let's check the API call also. Update enrollment. So you can see why object course error. Why not? Okay. So if you see the method is put and while executing, we just copy pasted, right? So it is post. So if method is wrong, you will get the course error. Okay. So that's what I said. When you copy paste, you have to be very careful. 3000 update. Yeah, API call is success. So if you check the network API, whatever the record you are updating, that you will pass it over here as the parameter also. And same object you will pass it along with the in the payload also. Let's reload. But why it's not updating? Yeah, it's got updated. EMI2. But this is not getting changed. I think in API I forgot because before the session only I quickly created this API. So I forgot so many things. Okay. So this should get updated from API side. Okay. Because once we successfully enter the data into our table, we should update this. So from the API side, it should come. Date update is happening. Okay. So once you use the API, I will be changing it also. Now we have two things left, soft delete and the actual delete. So first we have to enable the soft delete. Means by default, we cannot do the hard delete. So only one delete icon will be there. Okay. So for delete, so over here, we have this pencil. So this should be edit icon. We'll go over here. Trash is the icon, right? Yeah, we got the trash icon. So by default, we should not have both the option available for soft delete and hard delete also. This we normally follow while working. First, user will only do the soft delete and then he can do the hard delete. Normally hard delete get done from another application. We don't provide hard delete functionality or from the DB itself, we do it. Or in some application, they will have a separate page to do the hard delete of some record. Okay. So just to understand, we will first integrate the soft delete. So on click of delete, let's check the API, what API needs. So what it needs, just the ID and the method is delete. So while we will write the function on delete and we will pass, instead of passing the whole object, we just need to pass the enrollment ID. So enrollment ID only we will pass. So on delete, fine. Again, I'm copy pasting the URL itself. It's a delete. Delete doesn't, we can pass the object with delete also, but in this case, we don't need it. Or we don't pass, no? Yeah, sorry, we don't pass with the delete, only update and the post we can pass the object. Delete will, with the delete, we cannot pass the object. Okay. So our method name will be sub delete by ID. This will go over here. But while deleting, we should ask for that confirmation. Are you sure want to delete or not? If user says okay, then we should delete. So for that, we will create local variable is delete. We will use confirm box. The message, are you sure want to do soft delete? We have to specify it also, right? Otherwise, user will think it got deleted. So if user clicks on OK, we will get true over here. Otherwise false. So if it is true, then only we need to trigger our API call. And inside this, our API call will go. Why we are getting error? Okay, we didn't catch that parameter ID colon number, and whatever the ID you get, that you will pass it over here. So see, we copy pasted, right? So that's why here we didn't get that error, because that we copied from put. Now if I click on delete, I get the confirmation pop-up. Fine. If I click on cancel, see, no API call is there. Again, let's try. If I click on the delete and if I click on OK, now you will have the API call. Okay. And after that, get enrollment API call is also there. So you can see now only 2 records are there. So with this, we completed our basic functionality. Now some optimization things, what we can do. So when you save, you are getting the updated ID. See now the response of the save API, just check it. Let's say test 09 contact number. Let's try. Yeah. EMI 4,000. I've paid. On click of submit, enrollment is success. If you check the response of this API, here you can see we got the enrollment ID. The primary key is updated. And after that, we are making the get API call. And over here also, we are getting the same object. What our post API send, same object we are getting in the get API also. So instead of making this one more API call, in the post API call, you got the object. Na? This object you can push to your array. So you will reduce your one API call. Because in success, you can do that, right? If your API call is success, means record got created successfully. So here, instead of calling this API, what you can do now, this is our signal, right? So we have to use the update method. So this dot enrollment list dot update, because we want to consider the existing record and we need to push new record. Old list round bracket array dot old record and then new object. So this result. So now we are saving one API call, because from the post API, we are getting the updated object. So we don't need this API call. Say it should behave the same. Okay, currently 3 records are there. If I click on add, one more thing, error I wanted to explain. Let's say, wait, mobile number we are not showing into the screen. Okay, let's try. Test 33 0000009900. Okay, this mobile number we are passing. String batch 50,600. EMI, let's say 10,000 it has paid. On click of submit. See, now only post API call will be there. Submit. Second API call is not there. If I close the model pop-up, see that record is still there. So you reduced one API call, because after making the get API call, same data you are going to get, na? Right? So why to unnecessary keep our server busy for that time, unnecessary API call? In the post API call, you got the object. So that object you can push to your server, push to your array. So you got the same output without making API call. Same thing in case of delete also, you can use splice method to remove. In case of update also, you can do the same thing. So you are actually reducing more API call, right? So this you can do. Then for batch list, right? So what we did, we create a normal API call, we stored it into variable. So whenever you do subscribe, you have to create a subscription array and an enjoy on this, you have to unsubscribe, right? But instead of that, you can create an observable, and here async pipe you will import, and here on the drop down, you can directly use the async pipe and observable you will call. That also you can do. So those who gives the machine test, right? Even though task, see, no one will ask you to complete the whole project. They won't provide you the very complex scenario. Very most 80% time, very straightforward scenarios are there. So what people do, they just write very basic code. They just try to focus on the functionality to complete the functionality. Yes, that should be our focus. But if you have the time, once you are done with the functionality, always try to take care of these things also. Make your code optimize. Use async pipe. That's how you showcase, like, yeah, I know the async pipe also. Because remaining people are not going to do that. Something you have to show extra in the interview. No? That's how you get selected, right? So many things also like that you can do. Again, the validation and everything is there, right? So see, the basic thing we have completed. Again, as I said, one more API is there, which I forgot to create. And search API is also I forgot to create. So we have a search means I will create that API. So once you select, I will be able to search it. Here, one more dropdown will be there, select batch. So in the single table, let's say if I select the batch, that particular batch record should be over here. So I should be getting one filtered also. And here we will get the dashboard API where some proper data will be there for showing all the dashboard data. I created the model, like what kind of data I'm supposed to get, but I forgot to create the API. So in dashboard API, you will get the data like this: total batches, total amount received, total pending. And in that, you will get an array of batch wise total payment expected and received. So that data you will show it into the dashboard page. So once I complete this application, I will push that code also and I will live it also. So this is just the initial things I have done. So after that, on one more component I will create and for the dashboard, and there I will show the data what I will get over here. This is the single data we will show into the cards just like that. After that, in the table, we have to show the batch wise count, batch, total amount to be received, total received till now. So that will be a dashboard. So I will complete that. Got it? So it's a POC. We completed almost small working application. In actual, so many things will be about student payment. Here only we are adding this EMI 1, EMI 2. For actual application, the payment table will be there. So we will have a different page to add a payment. Okay. So like these things are there.
Sir, can you click on the all status? Drop it down.
Where? No,
UI.
it's not working now. We didn't. It just came with the UI. No functionality we have written. So once I create the filter API, then which will pass this searching status and everything. Then we will get the filter data from the API. Okay. For now, you can do it also, but from API, we are not getting something now. So we won't be able to do it. Understood?
We like show the status from like with the
API
function.
side.
Yeah. So
No,
can we use like
status we are not
get
showing from
status?
the function. No. See, status we have hard coded. It should come from the API. Just that color. According to the
Color.
status,
Okay.
we have to add a dynamic class, na?
Right.
Like pending and phase. For that, we created a function, and that function we are calling it in the HTML directly. But it will create our performance issue. For every chain detection, this function will call. So to handle
So
it properly, we should create a custom directive for this.
can we go for computer signal for that
Yeah,
functionality?
computer signal won't be necessary. Computer signal is like if any signal value get changed, based on that another signal value has to be changed. Then we go for a computer signal. Here we don't have a need, na? Got it?
Okay.
Computer signal when we use, if one signal value get changed, another signal value we want to automatically calculate. Computed signal value will be dependent on another signal. Here is not something na, like that. Got it? Based on the status, we just wanted to add a dynamic class. So that's why we have created a function and there we called it.
Okay.
Understood? Yeah. Anyone else having any question?
And
Yeah,
I need
hi.
more.
Yeah, go Chirag.
Oh yeah, you can go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, hi Bhushan here. So actually, my question is like in the API service, we are passing as query params, right?
Right.
So over there, we are as we are sending the params as an object, or how we are sending? We are or
No, that is in the URL. Na? Object will go into our body payload, right? This is
yeah.
URL only, a dynamic URL we are creating.
Okay. But
Parameters will go into the URL only.
yeah, this is the way that we can send, but this is the another way. So we can have like const params equals to object, and
Okay,
there
in params
yeah,
also. Yeah, there.
yeah. So I'm
That
asking
is
what is
on
the
your coding
best
level.
practice? Yeah.
See, just to send it, what we can do
Mhm.
it over here. Why to write the code also, right? If
Okay.
it again, it based on the project, what kind of architecture your project has, right? So from here you will pass the array of parameter, then you create a generic service where you create that params. So we can do that also. Basically same thing, right? Either you create your dynamic URL over here or you pass in your object, like here you see, options we have, right?
Okay.
Here you pass the same thing, one and the same thing. Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, no,
We
I
should
was
go
just
for that.
thinking about the right approach means
We
what
should
is
go
the
for that. We should
okay.
go for
Okay.
params only. This is very hardcore way we are doing. We
Hmm.
should go for that. Okay.
Yeah, and also regarding that API, so here only we are hard coding, so we can have other
No,
environment.ts file
yeah,
and there.
environment.ts,
Yeah.
constant and everything we can have.
Yes.
Chetan,
Okay.
last question.
Yeah.
So, like how we create that UI, like bolt, you pass image to the bolt.
Yeah, directly image I have put it. This image only I have put it over there. It has created that UI for me. We take one session, right? Chirag, you were not there?
Bolt,
For
yeah,
one,
I
yeah,
took that
right?
session, but what you
Similar.
pass, like
So,
you write the
okay, that
name.
prompt I will share you. I think on another browser I have sent it. Okay, I will share you the prompt. Again, I have attached this image. I have specified like this is the project I'm working and I'm working on a POC. So I didn't specify like I need this card or something, but I said POC. So it has provided this also.
Okay.
Okay.
I think you pass all the data, right? Whatever is
Yeah.
required.
Image I pass. So according to that, it has created it. So that's why you can see in your form, we had some extra things also, right? Because understanding the image, it has added that. Okay. Yeah. So see, it's a normal CRUD application, but it has a scenario. Even when we talk about project is also nothing but CRUD, but scenarios are different, right? But those who are actually in the learning phase, those who are giving intros, you should have this confidence. I have this confidence. I'm taking, what is this? Around 1.5 hours I took this to complete. Just the Angular part. You should take this one day also. That is fine. But it should not be like you for writing the API call, you are checking the old project and copy pasting. So this syntax also, everything you should be able to write without seeing the old code. That confidence you should have. Forget about the speed. Your speed and my speed will vary a lot, right? But at least without seeing the old code, you should be in a comfortable position that you are writing the code, because in machine test someone will be looking. Again, you are under pressure, so have this habit of writing the code by yourself. Don't use, if someone has Copilot already installed, disable that. I have also disabled that, right? So don't use Copilot. It will suggest everything. You just accept it. It will make you a bad developer in some days. Okay. Yeah. Anyone? Quick question. Otherwise, we are good to close. Everyone understood everything?
Can you push this code?
Yeah. In Angular 20 repo, you will get. I will push this. Okay. I will complete the whole thing. Then I will push it. Fine. Thank you all. Thanks for joining.